many people that came out and they were like, look, what the whole reason that we joined this MAGA movement, the whole reason that we thought Trump being in office was a good thing is because it would mean more good jobs for Americans. And look, if you genuinely believed that, then I don't. You know what I mean?
Was repeatedly host Epstein at Mar-a-Lago, have him at his wedding, hang out with him at Victoria's Secret fashion shows, get listed as a passenger on his plane 8 times, joke with him at a party while pointing out hot women and saying something into his ear that got the most grotesque smile in the history of human expressions. Tell a reporter, I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy, he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side, and allegedly hosts a calendar girl competition where, other than the 24 or so women flown in to provide the entertainment, the only guests were him and Jeffrey Epstein.
Imagine Donald Trump walking into a roast thinking he's the star only to realise he's the punchline. That's the setup, and Josh Johnson and John Oliver are the ones holding the MIC. They're not just tossing out quick burns, they're running a demolition derby where Trump's ego is the only car on the track and it's already running on fumes. The beauty is in the precision. Sarcasm collides with stand-up, politics collides with ridicule, and what's left is a man who built his brand on bravado, watching it collapse under the sound of laughter.
So we are doing tariffs?
Damn right we are. I ain't scared.
Not even more expensive housing?
Tariffs are off.
But that will increase the trade deficit.
On again.
Well, what about the price of breakfast?
Off in the morning, on at night.
And some of the harshest criticism is actually coming from Trump's most fervent supporters. Even the QAnon shaman posted, this stupid piece of shit. What a fraud. And once you've lost dipshit Daniel Boone here, you are in trouble. And it's understandable why Trump's struggling to get even his own base to take his word for it that there is nothing to see here, because to do so, you essentially have to believe everything we've learned about Trump over the years is irrelevant or sheer coincidence, that all Trump did.
If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more. Now here's the truth. Trump has always imagined himself as the heavyweight champ of attention, the guy who can walk into any room and steal the spotlight. But here's the twist, he's also the world's most generous comedy writer because he constantly hands out free material. Josh Johnson and John Oliver know exactly what to do with it. They don't just make jokes, they turn every Trump blunder into a full-scale demolition, the kind of roast that leaves nothing standing but the smoke of his own contradictions.
Trump knows Epstein so well. They were friends. Trump lived so close to Epstein in Florida that Epstein had to knock on his door and let him know he was on the sex offender registry. Like, that's how close they lived together. He knocked on the door, was like, hi, the court has ordered me to notify you that I'm in the area. I have been convicted of a few crimes, and I left my suit jacket over here last night, so that's crazy.
It's like Trump walked on stage wearing a gasoline suit and handed out matches for fun. Josh Johnson doesn't need to yell, doesn't need theatrics. He slices through Trump's circus with calm precision, like that one guy at a barbecue who quietly hands you a hot dog while pointing out your life choices make zero sense. He takes Trump, the self-declared genius of all trades, and reframes him as a clueless sitcom dad who doesn't even know the Wi-Fi password in his own house. That's why it lands so hard, because the picture is funny and the truth behind it is even funnier.
You'd also have to forget about Trump bragging about his ability to grab women's genitals and claiming he could go backstage at his beauty pageants while women were getting dressed, something he was accused of doing by 5 Miss Teen USA contestants, and once remarking of his own infant daughter Tiffany that she's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this yet, but time will tell. Beyond that, though, there's nothing there. Except for a jury finding him liable for sexual abuse, but other than that, there's nothing to see.
Trump loves selling himself as larger than life, but Josh Johnson shrinks him down to size with a single line. Suddenly he's not a titan, he's a guy who could lose an argument to a toaster. The brilliance is in the understatement. Josh doesn't scream or pound the table, he casually describes Trump like a clown trying to sneak into a board meeting. You laugh because the image is ridiculous, but then it hits you, this isn't exaggeration, this is reality. Trump's leadership has always been improved comedy without the talent. And Josh exposes it for exactly what it is, a blooper reel posing as a presidency.
If you don't care about Coke or Trump's health, don't worry. he's got some true crime for you.
This morning, the Trump administration releasing more than 230,000 pages of records related to the assassination of civil rights icon Martin Luther King Jr.
That's how bad things are for Trump. His back is against the wall so hard, he's releasing more Black history.
Then there's John Oliver, who plays the long game. He's not tossing jokes like grenades, he's planting landmines and drawing a map for where they'll explode. His delivery is like a caffeinated British uncle running a PowerPoint of Trump's contradictions, except every slide hits harder than the last. He doesn't just heckle Trump. He dismantles him like a mechanic opening up a shiny car and revealing it runs on a hamster with asthma. Trump depends on spectacle, on the illusion of strength, but Oliver strips the image bare until all that's left is chaos wrapped in arrogance.
Yeah, it is crazy. It's really crazy. He's basically one sentence away from saying, I mean, you guys saw what I did, right? And you still voted for this? That doesn't make any sense. And I know being a shambling verbal mess is part of Trump's brand, but it is still incredible to see an incoming president ad-lib a victory speech with the same energy as a best man who didn't realise he had to give a toast. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful beauty. Today, my brother and his wife, today they did the thing. You all saw it. I thought my part was done with the bachelor party, to be honest, but here we go. Marriage is crazy, right?
Josh Johnson leans into Trump's greatest weakness, his obsession with branding himself as the world's best dealmaker. But Johnson shows it for what it is: not a business empire, but a glorified yard sale where nothing works. Meanwhile, John Oliver digs into the fine print, the contracts, the broken promises, the receipts that prove the show has consequences. Together, they're like a buddy cop duo out of a satire. Josh is the deadpan detective spotting the ridiculous details Trump wishes you'd ignore. Oliver is the chalkboard analyst connecting the dots with British disbelief. The double team is deadly. One shows the emperor has no clothes, the other presents the invoice.
Might be the worst distraction because all he did was remind us that he can declassify thousands of secret files, and people noticed.
Bernice King, the daughter of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., posted this picture on social media with the caption that simply reads, "Now do the Epstein files."
And the aftermath. It speaks louder than any campaign slogan. Trump wants history books to cast him as a titan, but thanks to Josh Johnson and John Oliver, he keeps being remembered as comic relief. Josh cracks the lies open with casual understatement. Oliver proves the damage with airtight evidence. Comedy works here because it makes the absurd tolerable. It makes people laugh at things they'd otherwise rage at. Together they don't just chip at Trump's ego, they shatter the myth he sells. He thinks he's the star of a drama, but they reveal he's really the blooper nobody asked for.
Concerns the ongoing chaos of Trump's tariffs. It's been an emotional roller coaster since Trump rolled them out last week with the help of the single dumbest chart in human history. That prompted the Dow to drop by nearly 4,000 points in 2 days. So by Monday, everyone was understandably freaking out, only for Trump to dismiss anyone concerned as panicans, which he said was a, quote, new party based on weak and stupid people. Though I'd argue the weak and stupid demo is, if anything, way overrepresented in government right now.
What makes Trump such rich material is the unpredictability. He's like a human version of autocorrect, always confident, often loud, and rarely correct. You never know what's going to come out of his mouth, but you know it'll sound like it was workshopped by parrots and hype men. Josh Johnson takes that energy and translates it into sharp little observations like Trump insisting lemonade in a rainstorm is actually premium water. Meanwhile, John Oliver drags the circus into a courtroom of logic, laying out timelines, clips, and statistics with the enthusiasm of a librarian out for revenge. Together, they make Trump's chaos look not only ridiculous but documented.
I'm gonna put that down as a yes. I'll be honest, I've never heard anybody plead anything other than the fifth before. But this guy's so guilty, he's calling out every amendment he can think of. Like, no, what's the one with the women voting? 19, throw that in too. Now, this video is dropping less than a day since we found out Pam Bondi reportedly warned Trump back in May that his name was in the files multiple times. And it just so happens her next appearance was scheduled last night at a summit against human trafficking.
Trump thrives on spectacle. John Oliver thrives on evidence. That's why his takedowns cut so deep. He doesn't just get laughs, he builds airtight cases, walking audiences through Trump's contradictions until the illusion unravels. Next to him, Josh Johnson feels like the friend whispering commentary during a terrible movie, while Oliver is the guy who writes a full essay proving the film was garbage. The contrast works perfectly. Trump doesn't just get roasted, he gets exposed as his own worst enemy, with Oliver replaying every disaster in slow motion for emphasis.
And they are all a correct reaction, because look, we did a show like this after the election in 2016 when no one expected Trump to win. This time, though, his winning felt like a real possibility all year long. Lots of people mobilised to stop it, but it happened anyway, which feels somehow worse. You've probably seen people really struggling this week, and my sympathy goes out to all of them with one exception, and that is Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen. He'd claimed that he'd leave the country if Trump won, only to quickly walk that back post-election on a live stream where he got trolled by viewers in a very funny way.
This isn't just entertainment, it's cultural surgery. Comedy can do what politics can't: cut through the noise and expose the absurdity underneath. Trump thrives on being taken seriously, but nothing destroys that faster than laughter. Once the audience starts laughing at you, the myth of dominance collapses. Josh Johnson flips Trump's bragging into everyday absurdities, while John Oliver dismantles the claims with cold, researched precision. Together, they leave audiences laughing and wondering how Trump's sales pitch ever fooled anyone in the first place.
Jeffrey Epstein died back in 2019, but not since Tupac Shakur has a dead man dropped so many bangers, all right? Yesterday, video of the government questioning him back in 2010 started making the rounds, and you'll never guess whose name came up. Go ahead.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
John Oliver doesn't just throw out jokes, he builds case studies. Trump projects strength, but Oliver strips away the armor to reveal the clown suit underneath. Josh Johnson gives the audience inside joke laughs, the kind that feel personal. Oliver delivers the big picture laughs, the kind that also teach you something. The double punch is irresistible. Trump thinks he's untouchable, but against wit and research, he isn't a president, he's a sitcom character who hasn't realized the joke's on him.
We've already talked about RFK, enemy to all animals, friend to all measles, and Trump's plans to let him go wild on medicines. You know, really get in there and mix things up, like a worm in a frontal cortex. But Elon Musk is on there too. One idea floated in the campaign's closing days was that he'd be appointed to cut waste out of the federal budget. Here he's at Madison Square Garden, hyping the plan with the co-chair of Trump's transition team.
How much do you think we can rip out of this wasted $6.5 trillion Harris-Biden budget?
Well, I think we can do at least $2 trillion.
And here's the ultimate irony: Trump fuels the whole machine. Every outburst, every stunt, every desperate grab for attention becomes fresh ammo for Josh Johnson and John Oliver. They don't have to search hard, Trump leaves the material lying around like breadcrumbs. By the end, the audience isn't just laughing at the jokes, they're laughing at the inevitability. Trump wanted to be the headliner of a blockbuster roast, but the reality is brutal. He showed up thinking he had the MIC, only to realize too late that he was the punchline all along.